Hey everybody, welcome to a really cool episode of Back to School with Maz Jobrani. This week we have professional poker player, gold bracelet winner, female Iranian South African Melika Razavi. She is great. She's a professional poker player. She was Miss Iran. She's a magician. She's a motivational speaker. She's here today. First of all, tell us what it takes to become a professional poker player. Secondly, she's going to encourage us and inspire us by saying never be the victim in your own story. Keep moving forward. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve. And lastly, she's here to tell us if you want to win in a poker tournament, don't drink too many margaritas. You'll get drunk and you'll lose all your money. That and more right now on Back to School with Maz Jobrani. Maz Jobrani, hey, Jobrani Maz, oh, Maz Jobrani, hey, Jobrani, Mazzy, oh, Maz, hey, I got a podcast, oh, Back to School, yeah. Hey guys, if you're feeling overwhelmed lately, you are not alone. Start feeling better by going to Talkspace Therapy, where they will match a licensed therapist with you from the comfort of your own device. And you get $100 off your first month by going to Talkspace.com, entering the code SCHOOL. $100 off by entering the code SCHOOL at Talkspace.com. Do it. All right, guys, welcome to a cool episode. This person on the show today with us is very inspirational. She's amazing. Before I talk about Melika Razavi, I want you to say hello to my sidekick, Tehran. How are you, T?
Hey, I'm very excited for today's show. This is a fun show, and it's a poker player.
You play some poker, right?
I listen. I have very few things I like. I like to play basketball. I like to eat candy. I love playing poker. Those are my things.
Well, you know what you like. And our buddy Max Amini is a big poker player. I personally am not a big poker player, but I found Melika Razavi online on Instagram because, as you know, anytime there's any Iranians in the world doing something different and new, people always send a little clip. And I think somebody sent a clip going, oh, look at this well-known, successful champion poker player, happens to be, you know, an Iranian, a South African woman. She's at Melika Razavi. I want you guys to look her up. MELI Razavii on Instagram. She's got like 800,000 followers. But most importantly, her story is very inspirational. That she, you know, where she came from, how she ended up being a champion. And you just don't know about people. You know, you see them on social media. You're like, oh, okay, just another pretty face. And then you start digging in. You go, no, this person has worked hard, has met a lot of challenges. And I hope part of the reason we're doing this show is to learn about people, but also I hope it inspires people listening and watching to go, oh, wow, if I put my mind to it, I can reach great, great heights. And I think she's somebody who's done that.
She's very interesting. She's a self-made millionaire in every way. This is the most self-made you can be, is playing poker, because the up and down swings of poker, some people lose their minds when the stock goes down $2. This is high stakes poker. You're losing $1 million in one hour. And it's not always up to you. Skill is a lot, but there is an element of luck that comes into play. And if you get into a situation where luck has decided to look the other way, sheesh.
Dude, I've become kind of a small time recreational gambler. If I go to Vegas or something, I'll play cards. But I learned early on because my dad was a big gambler. And he used to play, you know, big money, baccarat, passur, blackjack, you name it. And I remember being in high school and I started getting into betting on football games. And I remember one Christmas, I had $120 in my bank to buy Christmas gifts. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take $60 of that, bet on the playoffs, make that 120, 180, and then go buy the Christmas gifts. Well, of course, I lost the 60. So the next week I go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bet the last 60 to win back the 60. Then I'll get to my 120 where I started. And then I'll go buy my Christmas gifts. Lost the other 60. All of a sudden I was left with $0 to buy gifts. I was like, never again. So I've
Never.
not been a big gambler, but I love learning about people in these worlds that are rare and different. And I'm excited. We're about to talk to Melika Razavi, world champion poker player. Before we do, Tehran, where do people find you?
I am Tehran all across the board.
And you guys reach me at Maz Jobrani. Send us your feedback. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us good reviews. And make sure to tell your friends. I feel the podcast is starting to grow slowly but surely. And it comes from you guys recommending this podcast to people. Listen to it while you run. Listen to it while you drive. Listen to it whenever you want. I don't care. It's none of my business. Just listen, all right? And by the way, Tehran and I are on tour, going all over the country, hopefully all over the world. MazJobrani.com. Those are the dates. Get your tickets. It's all new material. You're going to enjoy it. Without further ado, let's go talk to Melika Razavi on Back to School with Maz Jobrani.
Back to school, yeah.
Melika Razavi, thank you for joining us on Back to School with Maz Jobrani. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Professional poker player, magician, Miss Iran. This is big time. I showed your stuff to my son, Dara. Here is his question, Melika. Here we go, from Dara to you to get us started.
Hi, Mr. Razavi. I have a question for you. How do you know when someone's bluffing?
And how do you know someone is bluffing? Well, one of the most important things in live poker is body language reading. So if you understand body language, it's about 70% of our daily communication is body language. So if you study it, it's the way you look, your pulse, the way you behave, the way you breathe, all of that indicates of if the person is bluffing or not.
And so, okay, I love that. You're a student of the human body. I love the fact that you're there. You're checking other people out. And before we go any further, I want to come back to this in a second because I want to see how you go about bluffing. We're going to get to that in a second. I want to take us back. You were born in Iran?
Yes, I was born in Iran. I was actually born next to Caspian Sea and the city called Surrey. That's where I was born.
So Caspian Sea, like we used to have a house in Shomal. Were you near Shomal?
Yes, that is Shomal.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So you were born there, and then you lived in Iran till you're how old, and then you end up in South Africa?
I was about 14, 15 years old when I came to South Africa. I have been here since. I've traveled many places around the world, but my favorite place to be is definitely Cape Town, South Africa. It's home to me.
And how do you, are there a lot of Iranians in South? I never knew that we went to South Africa. How did that, although, wait a minute, didn't the Shah's dad go to South Africa, Tehran?
The Shah's dad was definitely one of those South African visitors many times and went there early.
But are there other Iranians there, Melika? How'd you end up going to South Africa?
I mean, since 2010, 2011, after the World Cup happened in South Africa, there were more and more got to know this place and how it is, how beautiful it is. And when people look at South Africa before, like when I came here when I was younger and I would visit Iran, people were like, isn't it this lion walking on the street? Isn't it this dangerous? So it's a wrong perception of how they look at the country. If you look at our country, Iran, and you say you're from Iran, and people immediately think of Middle Eastern terrorists, and you know what I'm talking about. So it's a wrong perception of how media presents the countries. And when you said South Africa before, people used to get afraid, like, wow, isn't it this dangerous, or isn't it this? But more and more people come to South Africa and they realize, wow, it's a beautiful place. Many people come around the world and they come invest here, they buy properties here. Iranian started coming here more from 2016, I would say. And I think it's about 10 to 20,000 people, Iranian people live in South Africa currently, if I'm not
And let
mistaken.
me ask you this. So you came, did you go, your whole family went to South Africa?
My mother moved to South Africa, I think 1998. I think it was, I'm correct with that year. And about 6 years later, I moved here. So it was just first my mother and then she came to Iran to bring me to South Africa.
So this is, listen, for somebody who's from an Iranian background, I don't know if you had the same experience, but most Iranian parents want you to be lawyer, doctor, engineer. That's it. You move, your mother comes to Iran, brings you to South Africa, and then somehow you end up in professional poker. How does that even happen? How did your parents not say, Baba, in harfa chiye, boro baba doktor sho, vakil sho? How did you get to where you are?
You know, I always loved cards. In my all my interviews, people get fascinated and interested to know how I got here. I always loved playing with cards. I started with basically doing magic shows because I loved cards, and I created my own content. I created my own tricks, and created my own magic basically. Then I knew how to play poker since I was 9 years old. I started playing home games with my friends in South Africa at the age of 16. And from there, I just knew this is something that I want to do, and I want to take it professionally. It wasn't easy. It didn't just come to me like, okay, I became a professional poker player. No, I lost a lot of money. I went through a difficult time. I mean, my mother was always my biggest supporter. She supported me all the way, even though sometimes, you know, mothers get like, oh my gosh, I wish you wouldn't do that, because she would see me going through so much stresses and, oh, but at the end of the day, I say, if you don't give up in what you believe, you're going to get there no matter what. And I clearly proved that to myself, that anything is possible if you put your mind into it.
Before Tehran asks a question, I got a question. You say you were 9 years old playing poker. Was that in Iran or in South Africa? Who taught you poker?
So a group of my mother's friends, they came from Canada to Iran, and they were visiting, and we were just sitting at home and they were playing poker, just, you know, and I learned how to play poker with them. As I said, I was always fascinated with playing cards, doing magic tricks, you know. And even though in Iran it's underground, you're playing cards, it's ridiculous, but it's true. You know, it started there, and I never saw myself as someone that would go to work from 8 to 5, work for somebody else. I always saw myself as a leader and not a follower. And this was a path I decided to take because I make my own destiny, basically. I make all the decisions. I do what I want to do.
I love that. You're entrepreneurial, and it's interesting because a lot of people who are listening, if they're Iranian, they know this, but it's illegal, right, to play cards in Iran. It's
Iranians play cards all the time. Iranian parents have us betting on stuff. You hook, you play pastur. I don't even know pastur. Just Shahbaz comes and you just take all the cards. We play cards. Like American kids, they don't play cards. They're not, because they think it's taboo. Iranian parents will have you at 5, like, yo, what's up? Are we doing this?
My dad was a big card player. I played pastur as a kid, and then my dad used to go to the casinos because my dad was a successful businessman. So he'd go to the casinos, he'd play baccarat, which is like other level, and he'd be playing like, I don't know, crazy amounts of money. And then they would go home and they would play pasur and rami and this and that. But I'm just interested that Melika's saying that even under the Islamic Republic of Iran, they were playing, which we know, and it's illegal, but it's silly, right, Melika, that it's illegal? It's stupid.
I mean, we know as an Iranian, there is so many, I mean, alcohol is illegal in Iran, but Iran is one of the most highest consuming alcohol in the world. Mm-hmm. So if you look at it, in Iran, I always try to explain to my friend that our best parties, our best gatherings, that people are so much fun. And it's not what you see on TV, that people are covered and they don't understand anything and we're riding the camels. This is not who we are.
That's how it rolls, Maz. Alcohol's illegal. Iran, everyone drinks alcohol. Sex is illegal. Population went from 30 million to 80 million. Clearly they're having sex. Telling you, Iran is where it's at.
You're absolutely right. It's like, you know, I've done shows in Kuwait. I've never been back to Iran since, you know, I just went back once. I've never done shows in Iran, but I did shows in Kuwait. Similarly, everything's illegal, but everyone's got like, oh, meet me at my house, and they got this huge
Yeah,
stash.
but Iranians turn up way more than Kuwaitis. You know, if
Yes.
you're looking at the Middle East, Iranians are the most liberal Middle Easterners. That's why it's so interesting to watch the contrast and dichotomy. It's like why it's honest. And Melika playing poker, that just sounds like the most Iranian thing you've ever done. You just
But I love that you do. It's almost like a movie waiting to happen. Melika, what? So where did you win Miss Iran? Were you in Iran when you got Miss Iran? Where were you? Canada? Where did you get that? How did that happen?
Okay, so as an Iranian, obviously we cannot hold pageants in Iran because that's also illegal. And
I
that's
met you.
forbidden.
Everything's illegal in Iran, but everyone's doing it. As if Adamayan, Baba, let them have fun. Go on.
I always say, it's funny how everything that I do is illegal in my country. I've never done anything illegal in Iran because I always, when I was in Iran, I was like obeying what
smart.
the requirement
Say
is.
that. Never did anything illegal in Iran. Melika's trying to go back, Moss. Let her live.
You know what? Let me tell you what else. Melika's making me realize the Islamic Republic or whatever, the government is not, it's almost like they're the enemy of fun. Everything that's fun, they're banning. It's like cards banned, Miss Iran banned, alcohol banned. The next thing, they're going to start banning slides. No sliding allowed.
Have you seen a woman magician in Iran? They're not allowed. And I'm a magician.
Ajab Odamayan. For the people listening right now, I just said, what's wrong with these people? I mean the government, but go on.
I mean, what can you expect? Our president right now, he only studied until the 6th grade.
Crazy. So you were telling us pageants are illegal in Iran. So where did you win and get into the pageant?
So at Miss Global, I'm going to go to Miss Global. So there is the interview, you put you send your things that you have done in your life, and they interview you. If you get approved, you get interviewed. It was about 15,000 applicants was around the world that applied, and only 32 got through from 32 countries. And for Iranian was completely different. Obviously, they had to interview us. We had to send them videos. They had like IQ test and EQ test. So to get to know who you are and if you can represent your country to be an international level.
So let me ask, so you were in South Africa when you applied for this?
Yes.
And out of 15,000 people, you were one of 32 chosen?
Yes.
As my mother would say, I'm proud of you. Way to go, young lady.
Thank you.
Then you represent Iran in this pageant. What did that entail? Did you have to where was it? Was it held in South Africa? Did you travel somewhere? Did you have to walk around in bikini? What was it?
Well, it was held in Manila, in Philippines. They would ask you political questions. They wanted to know. They brought Miss America, Miss Israel, and Miss Iran up, and they asked us a few questions about what we think about the politics. We had obviously shows, the bikini shows. We had to walk with our traditional clothing, which I decided that I would wear. Farah Pahlavi is one of the dresses, which actually my mother made it for me. She basically copied that, and I wear it because I wanted to represent to the world where we come from, and that is our culture. That's what we believe in. I wanted to show to the whole world that Iranian women are strong. We are very outspoken. We just not, unfortunately, we can't just, they cannot be heard because their voice has been silenced. And I had that opportunity, and I thought, let me go and represent the Iranian woman as who we are and show them. And in that pageant, I won the Miss Fitness 2016. In 2017, I got also nominated for Miss Power Woman World, which was held in Punta Cana. And I won that title of Miss Power Woman World 2017.
What's your regimen? Do you do running, weightlifting? Do you eat right? How can you make me more fit? What do I got to do, Melika?
You need to exercise and eat right. Obviously, I'm a personal trainer. I studied sports science in South Africa. So I use that to my benefit and just look after myself. But I don't practice. But I don't practice it as having a gym, but I do use it for myself.
So
Melika, I
you're
gotta tell you, you're an underachiever. You know, you need to do more with your life. It's amazing. Melika, there's people in the world right now who are like, I don't know what to do. You're like, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a magician, I'm a champion poker player, I was Miss Iran, and next year I'm gonna become the first non-South African born president of South Africa. I'll vote for you. Tehran, what's your question for Melika?
well, going back to poker, I wanted to ask some poker questions. First question everyone asks, of course, how much is the most amount of money you've won? How much is the most amount of money you've lost? I'm sure that's the most asked question that you receive.
Um, it depends, like if you're playing a tournament or if you're playing cash
Smart.
games.
IRS might be listening. You don't want to pay taxes. I get it. You don't want to. Smart.
It's better, like, I don't like to say how much I win or how much I lose. But some nights are good nights. On a cash game, you can win up to $1 million, or you can lose 500 to $1 million.
What's
Wait,
the
when you
biggest?
say, I'm sorry, hold on. When you say $1 million, are we talking US dollars or is this South African currency?
US dollars.
U.S. dollars, Maz. They're
A
playing big
million,
games.
$1 million US dollars in one night?
Well, it depends. As I said, I play high stake private cash games. So anything 100, 200, and 200, 400 games, and 500, 1,000 sometimes. And the games can get big. Sometimes you're playing for only $100,000. Sometimes you're playing 200. But the biggest, as you asked, what's the biggest losses and biggest winning in a night? It can, for me at the moment, can be up to 500 to $1 million.
And can I ask you real quick before Tehran, you ask your next question, how long does that take for you to win or lose, whatever it is? How long is that game that at the end someone goes home with $1 million?
You see, I can't tell you who, at the end of the game, someone goes home with $1 million. Of course it can, and someone can lose $1 million, very easy. Obviously, you don't see those games much often on TV because it's a very high stake private cash games. Some businessmen, they like to play it, and they are from the countries that they don't like to be known, so they're playing unknown. You can play a game between 2 hours, 3 hours to 5 hours to 8 hours. That's the length of the game because you're playing a cash game. Cash game is completely different than a tournament. When you're playing a tournament, you have to play until the last person. But when you're playing a cash game, you're playing from anything from 2 hours to 8 hours to 12 hours. It depends how long the game is running for.
I feel like you're living like you're the real living, like, you're in a James Bond movie. That's what I feel like. Like they walk in and they see Melika and they're like, hello. And you're like, hello, Mr. Bond. Like that scene, I don't know why they haven't cast you to be in a James Bond movie. So let me ask you this. Do you feel that you are underestimated because of the way you look? Do men come in there and go, oh, some pretty girl, I'm going to beat her, and then you use that to your advantage? Or are we past that? Is poker, let's say, even more progressive where they accept people, men, women, all that stuff? What's it like for a woman in the game?
Definitely it has advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, if they don't know the players, a lot of men, they play with their ego, especially, I shouldn't be saying that, but especially businessmen. When you playing businessmen, they're playing with their ego. So it's for you, it's easier to get called. It's easier to, bluff catch someone. You're just playing them, as I said, body language, and you can control the situation. And, especially if you're playing a live game, you're talking to the people, and it's all about mind control, trying to beat the player. Of course, the professional poker players, they are strictly professional, and they know it doesn't matter who they're playing with, they're playing professionally. If you are playing, as I said, if you're playing with a non-pro, then it's a completely different subject.
And how do you, because Dara, my son, asked, how can you read a bluff? How do you do your bluffing? Meaning, like, I've seen people with, I mean, I don't know how this is fair. I've seen people with sunglasses on. I've seen people with hats and you can't see them with hoodies. How's that even allowed? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it's poker. When you're playing online, you don't see anybody, do you? So
But
when you're playing live,
in person.
when you are playing live, then if someone wearing a sunglasses, I wear sunglasses sometimes. Um, you know, I wear hoodie sometimes just for fun and close it, and you can just see your verse. And I always say I'm a good Muslim. um, so it just depends how I think some people are comfortable of doing that. Also, sometimes they cover the neck because they don't want you to see their pulse. Because when you're bluffing or you're excited, not necessarily just bluffing, when you're excited, your pulse starts racing. So that gives a tell. Some people wear sunglasses because they don't want them to see their eyes, or they don't want others to see their eyes. And you know, it's just I think a personal how can I say it? It's a person to person how they feel, because sometimes I wear sunglasses, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I wear a hoodie and sometimes I don't. It just depends on how I feel personally. I can't speak for anybody else.
So if someone's listening to this right now and going, you know what, I'm pretty good at poker, I want to go try this. What should they be prepared to do? Like, I can tell you, if you want to be a comedian, you got to get on stage 5 to 10 times a week for 5 years. Eventually you'll start getting good. So if someone's just total amateur and they want to get started, what do? They start playing with their friends to get better? How much money should they think, like, am I going to lose till I'm good? Is it going to take a year, 2 years, 5 years? How long does it take to get to the point where you get good at it?
That's a very good question. And I mean, personally, I started playing home games with friends. You're playing for money. I never studied. I didn't even know that I have to study. I just knew the basic understanding of poker. And later on, I understood, and I wished that someone would tell me that you need to study. You need to find platforms, the sites. There are so many professional poker players that they have the videos, different websites that you can buy it, and you have to study. Study your ranges, study all the time. Then I would never say just put your money first. Go play in the sites where it's free money. Practice and practice and practice, because live game is completely different than playing online. So you have to gather experiences. So and if you do feel like you want to go play cash game, go play the lowest cash game possible, because you need to gather that experience before you say you are good enough to go play, to put your money down basically to play.
That's a learning moment, ladies and gentlemen. If you're thinking about going to play poker, play the free games first. Don't think you're going to go with your life savings and double your winnings.
And study first. Study first.
Guys, the world is racing to try to get back to normal, but I know it can be overwhelming. We all have so much that's happened to us in the past year and a half, whether it's just feeling the effects of post-pandemic or having had to deal with friends or loved ones that we either lost or got sick. There's so much going on, and you're not alone. So what I want to tell you about is Talkspace.com. You guys need to check it out. They will match you with a licensed therapist to get a chance to talk to them about what's on your mind. I think it's the most important thing. Think about this. Every year, we're encouraged to go and get a physical, like your body. But you're not encouraged to get a mental check-in. And I think it's very important to do. So check out Talkspace.com. They have licensed therapists. It just takes one message and you can match with a licensed therapist from the comfort of your own device. Whatever your device is, they do one-on-one as a video chat and help you out. We all need to confide in others about what's going on, to get it off our chest. Sometimes you do it with a friend. I've talked to some friends before, and sometimes they're good at listening, sometimes they're not. They're not licensed professionals. Talkspace.com is going to put you in touch with a licensed professional, match you with the right person, get you to talk about your mental health, get into a good mental health space. So I want you to check them out. I want you to start feeling better with a single message. Now, here's the thing. They'll match you with a licensed therapist when you go to Talkspace.com, and you get $100 off your first month with the promo code SCHOOL. That's because of my show. You put in the promo code SCHOOL, you're going to get $100 off your first month at Talkspace.com, TALK space.com. Check it out. Uncle Maz sent you. Try it. You got nothing to lose. Talkspace.com, promo code SCHOOL. Check it out. Tehran, what's your next question from Malika?
Well, it's interesting because you asked how long games can take. If Max Amini and I go play poker, I will be there for 48 hours straight. Like, I have a problem. That's why I try to avoid. And I think there's a difference between low stake games and high stake games, because low stake, you get a lot more people playing for luck. But the higher the stakes, the more people realize that money means something and they play with a lot of skill. In that skill setting, Malika, what is your biggest bad beat story? What is the biggest bad beat story? I don't want to jinx you and bring it up and make you retell it, but I'd love to hear it.
I would have to think, because I don't really, I think, if I have to be honest, I had the 4 of a kind kings, and I lost to
a straight flush.
royal flush.
Yep.
What? You had 4
Yeesh.
kings and you lost to royal flush?
That's how that works.
Wait,
Oof.
royal flush is when they have 5 of the same kind all the way up to king, right?
The ace, up to the ace.
The ace.
All the same suit.
Ooh.
Yeah, so, and this is Hold'em?
Queen, jack, queen, king, and ace. basically.
Sheesh.
And you had 4 kings.
Yes. And I flopped the
You flopped the
4 of a kind.
quads. You flopped the quads, and then someone caught a royal straight flush. Sheesh. And there's
That
no
was- that
bad
was
beat jackpot
hurtful.
for that.
That was very hurtful. But
That's
you
a
know,
cooler.
as we understand poker, we have to take it with a pinch of salt, because we have to be prepared to take a loss. At the end of the day, the most important thing is to be focused and not make mistakes. And if something like that happened, it's just part of the game.
That's crazy. Now, let me ask you the reverse of it. Tell us about a time when you had nothing, but you were so good at bluffing that you were like, and you got the guy to, do you have a moment like that where you were like, booyah, I just won with 2?
2-7 offsuit. 2-7 offsuit. Tell the story.
I don't remember playing with 2-7 offsuit and making a bluff, to be honest. But I do make bluffs sometimes, and sometimes on a live game I play the opponents and obviously know their ranges and my ranges, and obviously the positions that I am. And if I have blockers, then I can make a bluff. Then and I have made bluff that I had very small, like low percentage equity. And I think there's one actually I refer to, you can watch it on YouTube, where I go all in with ace-4 and I literally have nothing. It's on PokerStars, EPT Monte Carlo 2019, I think it was. And I go all in, and the guy thinks and thinks and thinks, and he folds, and I show my hand that I have ace-4, absolutely nothing, ace high.
You
That's
want
a
them
good
to know
moment.
that you bluff, so later when you have something, they rethink it and think you're bluffing. Genius. Poker is the chess of gambling, not the checkers, Maz. Chess of gambling.
I honestly don't have the patience. Like, I played once a couple Christmases ago, and I won a hand, and then 20, 30 minutes in, I was like, I'm bored. So I just went all in. I lost everything. So I'm more of a blackjack guy. I just count the numbers.
That's
and
why
I go
they
on.
call poker, it's a game of patience. You need to have patience. And sometimes you are completely, we call it dead card dead. So you don't get any cards. You're sitting there for half an hour, 45 minutes, and you're just folding, and you're just folding, you're just folding. So some people, as I said, if you are not professional poker player, you do get irritated and you start playing more hands, you get tired. And as I said, that is a no-no, a big no-no. So you have to, I always suggest like meditate and relax your mind before you start the game, rest well. And you said you enjoy playing blackjack. And I just wanted to point this out. I don't see poker as gambling. I don't, because you are gambling when you are playing against a casino, when you are
Yeah.
playing blackjack, when you're playing roulette, when you're playing baccarat, when you're playing the machines, then you are gambling because you are playing against the casino, which is the machines. You're not playing against human. When you're playing poker, you're playing against other human and other understanding, their knowledge of the game and how much they know. So I don't see it as gambling. And people say that, in poker you lose and you win, so you're putting money, that is gambling. I say yes, but who knows the game better wins. So if you study, you will win. There are so many poker players in the world that they started with nothing, like myself. I started with nothing. People look at me and they say, "Oh, wow, maybe she has a rich family, or she has a rich boyfriend." This is exactly like what comes to their mind, and that's not true. And the other thing is, I'm very open about who I am and where I came from, and that's why I'm writing a book, which was supposed to be finished and is not finished yet because the guy who was shadow writing for me, he got COVID,
Oh,
and yeah, he got very ill, and we are still waiting. But I believe everything happened in the right time. And I just wanted to, you have this platform just to tell the Middle Eastern woman or Iranian woman especially, it doesn't matter where you are right now. Because when I was in Iran, I was born in a very middle class family. We didn't have much. And for me, to travel and to have new clothes, sometimes it was the biggest thing. And I always knew in my head, I don't know why, I always knew something is going to happen, something big is going to happen. And it was just my mom's putting that in my head. And it's so important how parents give the information they have in the right way to the children. The stories that they're telling them when they go to bed is so important, because I look at my childhood and where I am today, and I see all of that. It was in my head. It was what it was told to me, even though when we didn't have nothing. We had literally nothing. I came to South Africa with my mother at the age of 15, and we also had nothing. The things happened, and she lost everything in South Africa. We were literally walking on the street and we didn't have nothing. This is 15 years ago. And from there, I remember me and my mother, we were walking on the beach and it was raining. And she held my hand and she looked at me. I couldn't speak a word of English when I came here. And she looked at me, and I never forget what she said. She said to me, my child, never forget this. It doesn't matter what's happening now. One day you're going to look back and you're going to see how far you have gone in life. And I never forget that. And every time I give speeches and I talk, because I do motivational speaking, I always say that, because it doesn't matter. If you're going to be the victim of your own story, then you're not going to get anywhere. If you feel that, oh, everything is going against me, and you're just sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, nothing is going to change. You have to start. The most important thing is start thinking positive, start believing in yourself, and not letting anyone bringing you down, because that's what happens. Society brings you down, people around you brings you down, family brings you down. And important thing is you do not allow anyone to tell you that you can't do something, because that is their belief. That is their belief that they can't do it. It's not you. And the more and more it goes, my life is just, I would say, is out of this world. Because from a little girl from Iran coming to South Africa, basically I had to come here because I had arranged marriage in Iran. And my mother came to get me, and she said, I don't want you to have the same life. And she brought me to South Africa, and that situation happened with my mother, and we had nothing. Here we were walking on the street and we had nothing. And from there, coming to where I am today, I did everything myself. I never relied on anyone. I didn't rely on any man, even though I could, but I never wanted to, because I believed that something in me is higher. I was just, I don't know, it was my ego. I believed so much in myself. And that's why at the beginning of the show, I said, I'm not a follower, I'm a leader. And you have to believe it fully in yourself to understand what I'm saying.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Those are beautiful words. I hope people listening find that inspiration. You're absolutely right. I think it's absolutely what parents tell their kids. If you instill confidence in your kids by giving them love and letting them know that they can do anything in life, and I love your story. So it was an arranged marriage in Iran, and your mother brings you here and says, I don't want you to fall into that. And here you are, self-made, in this world that was made for, let's face it, the poker world was made for men, probably a certain kind of man in particular, who I don't want to again stereotype, but I'm guessing 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was a male dominated world that was probably also very, misogynistic, not allowing women in. And here you are in this world succeeding. And I love your attitude. I love your mentality. You're inspiring us, Malika. I love it. I love it.
thank you very much. I mean, I think a lot of people, what they show on social media is not their true self. I always try to be myself, and I never forget where I come from, because that made me who I am today. That made me a strong person. All the difficulties and challenges that I went through, it made me who I am today. So I would never run away from it and say, oh no, I never had a difficult time. No, that's not me. Who I am, I'm an open book. I tell people, because I do believe if I can change someone's mind about how they think about their life, or I can affect just a small little of their life to do something better, I will do it, because that's my heart. That's what I love to do.
I love it. And what about, you were just talking about your social media. When did you become this social media star? Did that come from the poker, or did that come from the motivational speaking, or did that come from the magic, or from the Miss, Iran? What led you to all of a sudden look and go, oh my God, I got all these followers and they're watching what I do?
I started being more active on social media in 2016 when I went for Miss Global. If you look at my Instagram, I'm not very active on social media, but here and there I post. I think the last post I did was recently, but before that was 5 months ago, when I won the World Series of Poker bracelet last year. That was my last post. I don't know. I don't believe in social media, but the work that I do and the industry that I am, it does require me to be on social media.
Yeah, true that. Listen, you're great. I'm really enjoying all of your motivational words. I'm going to let Tehran ask one more question, then we'll do a speed round with you. T, what else do you got from Malika? All the way, by the way, from Cape Town, ladies and gentlemen. This show is international. Go ahead, T.
In poker, is it better to be good or lucky? Go.
It's better to be good.
Really? Because every time I get lucky, I'm so happy. It's the best feeling ever.
It's good to
It's
get
the
lucky
best.
sometimes. Always, I mean, if you have one out there and you hit it, it's good. But it's better to be good. It's better to understand the game.
Yeah, it's always better to understand the game. And with poker, do you have any world bracelet aspirations?
What do you mean by?
Like, do you plan on trying to go for a world bracelet, winning a world tournament?
I did. As I just mentioned, I won the WSOP bracelet last year, 2020, World Series of Poker. And something very interesting, that I applied to go to Vegas for the visa, and I got denied because I had Iranian passport. And I had an interview with Jeff Gross, and he was asking me that question, that how do you feel of not be able, like that you're not able to come to Vegas and play the World Series of Poker? And I said to him, like, whatever it has happened in my life, I believed and I achieved it. And I believe that nothing is going to stop me from getting there. somehow, some way it's going to happen. And a few weeks later, because of the COVID, the World Series of Poker was held online for the first time ever. And I played in the event of Beat the Pro, and I won the bracelet. I came first.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
amazing.
You know what? You know what? Muslim ban, travel ban, be damned. Malika Razavi cannot be stopped. I love that. And by the way, anyone listening to this right now, I want you to hear what she just said, because the stupidity of that travel ban was that, oh, we're making America safer. You made America safer by keeping a world champion poker player, magician, motivational speaker, Miss Iran, just self-made person out of the country, you dum-dums with your stupid laws. Anyway, don't get me started, Malika. Don't get me started.
I don't even know how this always gets political.
Because they kept her out, but she didn't care. She won online. Booyah. Malika, I could talk to you for hours, but I'm gonna just get to the next round of speed questions. This section is called Back to School with Malika Razavi.
Back to school.
Quick questions, quick answers. You're on social media. You're beautiful. You're successful. Do people has anyone proposed to you on Instagram? Just a random person.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we get proposed to all the time, so we want to make sure it's everybody.
It's quite weird because sometimes I receive message from the sister of a guy that happened quite often. Like it happened at least 3 or 4 times from the sister of a guy asking me like, and they know I'm in a relationship, and I don't understand what do they think or how they think. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Do you respond to those people?
No, I read and laugh.
That's funny. Okay, next question. Do you cook Persian food, and what's your favorite?
I do cook Persian food, very rarely because I don't really have time, but I love Persian food, and I cook everything. So, korma sabzi.
Korma sabzi is the right answer. That's the right answer.
Right answer. Yeah, you get a point for that. You get a point for that.
That's the right answer.
Next question. You are this multi-hyphenated human being. What career have you not done that you want to do?
Well, I always wanted to be an actress. And I was an actress. Basically, I did a lot of theater in Iran as a child. And when I moved to South Africa, unfortunately, everything just, went different direction. But that's definitely something that I would pursue in the near future.
I don't know why, like, the James Bond movies can't just put you right in. They should just put you in a scene. And listen, they say there are no small parts, only small actors. So all you do is you're in a scene, your glasses are on, he walks in, you take your glasses off and you go, well, hello, Mr. Bond. And that's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all we all need. I need that scene.
I need that scene. I'll be like, that's Malika. I got her the part. Okay, next question. Should we come and do shows in South Africa? Are there enough fans for us to come down there to do a live show?
100%.
100%. If we go on tour with Trevor Noah, 100%. If it's
Trevor Noah.
Me and Trevor Noah.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
Did you hear this? Did you hear this, Maz?
I know. We're coming. We're going to come. We'll get Trevor to come with us. We just got to make some calls.
He's mixed. I'm mixed. How come no one cares about me? He's mixed too. The same story. It's the same story.
Final question. What's one tip you can give an amateur poker player like Tehran? The next time he plays poker, what would you tell him to, like, one tip, one little pointer?
Well, I would say to him to study first.
Tehran, study first, man. Don't just show up at the game.
Yeah.
Study first.
Amateur poker, I actually have a bracelet, Maz. So it's not a World Series of Poker bracelet. It's just a bracelet I bought online. But still,
At least you got a bracelet. I'm telling you, the one time I played in the past couple of years, it was like $500. Everybody put in $500, and you could have won, like, I don't know, 30,000 or something. By like the second margarita, I was like, who has the patience for this? I was done. I was like, I'm all in. I went over.
It's different. Tournament and cash are two totally different games and two different mentalities of how to play. And that's why some tournament players are not good cash game players. Some cash game players are not good tournament players. And the rare few that are both are amazing. They're the Phil Ivies of the world. The Antonio Esfandiari. Antonio's my boy. Also another magician, Melika. Persians, you guys should be best friends.
It's
Melika,
actually quite interesting because a lot of people tell me that, like, how is it? I mean, the Persian being a magician, Antonio Spandieri is also a magician, and you're both poker players.
It's
Quite interesting.
Yeah, it is a couple. And there's actually a Black and Persian poker player named Dave Williams who kills it too. Good looking guy. I'd just like to say we're in there. That's all I'm saying.
Well, weren't the original three wise men were magicians, weren't they? And they were Persian.
Well, they were, magic comes from the word magi. But I will tell you, the people who invented poker were Persian. A lot of people don't know that. That's why it's called poker. So,
Melika, are you also, this was no longer the fast questions, just curious, are you also someone who enjoys playing chess or backgammon or other games that have some strategy and need patience?
I love backgammon, and we always play at home with my friends backgammon.
Persian game.
I love backgammon. I do play chess here and there, but not often. But
Persian
backgammon
game.
is my game. I play at the casino. If I'm not playing poker, sometimes I play baccarat. That's my game. I love baccarat. Yes,
Thinking
that's
game.
what I do. And I play pool. I love playing pool. So it's not.
I have a feeling if we
Sees the angles.
I have a feeling if we ever end up in the same place one night, Melika is gonna leave with all our money. Like we're gonna be like, I'll be like, I don't know. She said she plays pool. She played pool, backgammon, poker. I'm broke. I mean, it's like, bring a lot of money. Oh my God, Tehran, what'd you learn on this episode?
I learned never marry a poker player. They can always tell when you're lying. So that doesn't seem like it's gonna work with me. You know what I'm saying? It's just not gonna work with me.
Good point. And I learned if I ever play poker again, I'm gonna show up in a full ski outfit, hoods, everything covered, so they can't see my pulse. It's all about keeping the pulse.
Ninja
Huh?
suit.
Ninja. I'm gonna be the ninja poker player. Melika June, thank you for taking the time, and we really appreciate you. I want people to make sure they follow you. It's at Melika Razavi, Razavi on Instagram. I'll also put that in the introduction. I can't wait for your book to come out. Do you have a title for it yet?
I'm still thinking about it because it has taken so long and so much has been happening in my life since last year. And I said, I believe there was a reason why the book was not finished, because 100% I had to put what happened to me last year and this year. So it's changed, like the whole story is going to change at the end. And that to me was the sign that I had to wait and have patience. And as I said, there's always a reason for things that happen. And
if you need suggestions, let us know.
I got one. I got a suggestion. Ready? Here's the suggestion. I'm not bluffing. The real story of Melika Razavi.
That's a good one. I think mine is better. Tehran is so good looking. The real story of Melika Razavi. I feel like if you just, because it's like a bluffing title, like I'm bluffing, but I'm not. It's the truth, but it, has nothing to do. I think if you do that, I think.
How about Never Fold? The true story of Melika Razavi. I got a bunch of time. I'll send those to you. Listen.
So every chapter, we have a title for every chapter. So, and every chapter, I have a phrase of a poker term.
I like it.
That you say it like, I fold, I raise, it was a straight flush. Like, so the story, it seems like the hand actually that's been playing. Bad beat. Like I have one chapter called Bad Beat. And so, but the story goes exactly like the hand that plays.
Do you have a chapter that's called Donkey? Because like a poker term donkey? Because that's what my dad calls me. Like, nothing? Okay. Just saying it out there.
Melika Razavi, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today on Back to School with Maz Jobrani.
Back to school, yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Back to School with Maz Jobrani. We hope you're enjoying it. We hope you're having fun, and we hope you're learning something. So make sure to let your friends know, share it on iTunes, share the clips from YouTube. Just get it out there. However you're listening, let your friends know to tune in to Back to School with Maz Jobrani.
Back to